Alright guys, welcome to my very first 6Cs competitive guide, Badlands edition. My name is Cube and I played competitive TF2 for about 6 years now and reached from Division 5 to Premiership level. And today we're going to talk about CP Badlands, probably my favorite map. So let's get right into it. So this series is going to be for everyone basically. I'm going to try to teach all the new guys, people trying to get into competitive TF2, and also reach out to those guys who are playing for years like me. And yeah, we're going to talk about holds, pushes, mid-fights, shenanigans, basically everything about CP Badlands. So let's see, what do we have here? This is basically an aggressive mid-hold. For all the new guys, you should always know that there's like an aggressive hold and a defensive hold to every point on a 5 CP map. So on Badlands, on the mid area, I'm going to talk about the aggressive hold. So let's see. Let's say you win the mid fight, everyone is alive, you and the opponent, and you just hold the mid. You know, you're not doing anything really. How do you position yourself really good? Let's see. We have the pocket player who's on the train, who's watching choke and can spam. He's basically not doing anything, he's just overwatching the area. You have the demo doing the same job. He's close to the medic and basically can try to pick off a guy in choke or something, but it's more about denying the enemy if they try to get in. So the flank is really important. You have the Roma right here, and the Roma basically is in control of the house area, which is really dangerous sometimes because the enemy can come into the house with like 2 soldiers or something and try to get a pick. So if you're the Roma, like Dob used to be in my old team, you always want to get a 300 HP buff and then get into the house and maybe try to get a pick or, you know, try to sneak some information. So that's really important. If you're the Roma, always get buff and then you get into the house. The scouts have like not really important job in this hold. You have the pocket scout, which is indicated by this little shield, and the flank scout. And it doesn't really matter which scout does what, but you want to basically watch the house area. So I'm a really big fan of one scout holding this balcony, so he can watch deep into the house, give the Roma information if someone gets into the house. And he also can jump on this little ledge to the left on the balcony and watch the resub area. So if there's a scout pushing resub for some reason, and then you have the other scout. The problem is this area you want to hold is really close, so there's not really a job for everyone. The scout basically just helps the other scout and should always have a buff. So if you want to go in, you have this scout who's closer to the medic with a buff. But yeah, I'm gonna show you some tricks you can do from the choke. Let me get into TF2. Alright, so there we are. Let's get into the choke area. So let's say you hold this train. What can you do now without pushing? You should always be aware of the fact that soldiers can jump really well from this spot. So you jump in as a soldier and try to focus a medic. You know, force an Uber or something, get a key pick. So yeah, that's one thing you can do. You can get into the house, try to get a pick with like double soldier or something. That's not really pushes I'm talking about right now. That's just like, you know, some plays you can try to do. It's not really effective because yeah, it's really tough to get in basically into the enemy territory, but you can try. So that's things you should always be aware of, that can jump from this spot, especially if the enemy is not watching, and you can try to get a pick in house. So let's get back onto the overview. I'm gonna switch to the defensive hold real quick. Give me 1 second. Where is it? There we go. Then let's see. All right, there we have the transition. So this time is for a defensive hold. You want to always hold defensive if you have a disadvantage in numbers or in Uber percentages. Let's say the enemy team has Uber and you don't, and it's 6 versus 6. How are you going to hold the mid area? So basically, I'm gonna start off with the most important thing, and I can't stress enough how important it is. You wanna have the medic close to your house. Why is that? Basically, the enemy is going to try to push into mid with an Uber advantage. And your medic doesn't have Uber, so your medic has to get out, basically. And the house area is the best way to get out, because if you go out through choke, you can get jumped on. It's much easier to chase, so you always want to position yourself close to the entrance of the house to get out. So that's why I put exit here. Really, really, really important. It's like, I've seen so many times that people go out through choke and die in the end, or they disconnect from the team. Yeah, basically always hold that angle. So what does the rest do? The demo man should always try to put up a sticky trap if you have a defensive hold. So if you have the time, sometimes you don't have the time, obviously, but if you have the time, try to put a sticky trap, make the entrance, make it really hard to get into the mid side. So that's basically the demo man's job, and he has to spam if you know where the enemy comes from. Information, that's basically the theme of this scout who's on the front train. All he does is tell the team where the enemy comes from. So if he spots the medic and, you know, the medic comes in choke or house, you know, he can tell you, and then the heavy classes, your roamer, your pocket, and your demoman can spam that entrance to make it really hard for the enemy to come in without popping the Uber. So yeah, this scout always on the front train and just give the information. Don't die, just be annoying and give information. The other scout basically has the same job, just for the resub area. It's just not as likely as the enemy coming from the house or the choke, but you have to have someone watching that area. So you have him basically guarding that. Yeah, I haven't talked about the soldiers yet. So let's say your pocket is, like, you know, close to the medic, so you can get out together or something. He's on the front train. You know, you want, as a soldier, you always want high ground. So if the enemy comes through choke, you can have a really good angle to spam, you know, just to make the medic uncomfortable. And the roaming soldier basically does the same thing. You can position yourself differently. You can go, if you have a buff, you can go on the front train just to spam more effectively. You can go here on the balcony and spam from that angle. Sometimes if you have, you know, like 100% disadvantage and you don't want the enemy to come in without Ubering, you can, you know, go under the bridge or to the house and force the medic if he runs in. But it really depends on your Uber disadvantage, because if you have only 20% disadvantage, you wanna just, you know, spam the enemy, get out, and then repush with your own Uber. You don't wanna lose people because you are forced to pop the Uber. So yeah, always be aware of that, how much of a disadvantage you have. So yeah, that's basically the defense foot. And another thing you need to know is that one of the heavy classes, the demoman or the soldier, have to go with a medic through house into the choke area when you decide to get out, because sometimes you have like 80% and then your pocket jumps out through choke, your demoman gets stuck or something, and then you don't have a target and you don't get your Uber. So always have one guy with your medic in a defensive hold, so you can keep on building that Uber. Alright, that's basically for the mid. Let's talk about the spire now. Switch to my offensive hold here. Alright, so what do we have here? It's a really simple hold. It's basically super old school. I know that like for 5 years now, I think, or 6 years. You have your demoman and your pocket and choke, just guarding that area, you know. But there's one thing I want to stress out here. Let's see. Let's say we're holding at this point. Let me switch into TF2 real quick. There we go. You're holding this point, and you have your soldier here and your demoman here. Let me put on volume. Oh no, never mind, I can't do that. So one of your heavy classes, demoman or soldier, always has to watch that angle. And why is that? Because, like I told you before, if a soldier gets in here and jumps, you want to tell your medic as soon as possible. So you spot that soldier coming in, or the medic coming close, maybe they want to Uber in or something. You want to always get that information. So always the soldier or the demo man have to spot. You know, sometimes you spam like 4 pipes, you get away, reload, then your soldier has to look. So always look, just always. And yeah, let's get back to the overview. Where is it? Viewer. There we go. Okay, sorry about that. So, the Roma. What does the Roma do? The Roma basically guards the entrance of the house, so you don't get surprised by a soldier running in or an Uber running in. But it's the same thing with the mid. You always want to get your buff and then get into the house. Don't go into the house with like 200 HP, because you die so easily if they double peek you. Always get in with a buff. Yeah, that's basically everything. You just hold that area. The medic positioning is also important, because I position myself always on the stairs in this scenario, because it gives me some height advantage. You know, if you stand like in the middle of this area or something, you can just jump and move around. But like this, you can go up the stairs and jump down or something. It gives you more versatility in your movement to dodge the soldier trying to force you or something. So yeah, and it's also, you know, the soldier has to strafe around like this. You know, he has to, yeah, he basically has to strafe. He doesn't see you first, you know, he has to spot you. It gives you basically an advantage in all kind of situations. So this scouts. The super old school way to hold Badlands Spire offensively is like both scouts in the resub area. So, you know, you just sit there, get into resub, spam, maybe get into house or something, but you're not really doing anything. So that's why I position one scout on this balcony, on the spire, because sometimes the enemy gets in and you have a bad Uber or something, and you have both scouts in the resub area and they can't really help because it's such a big distance, you know? And like this, one scout can always like jump down and be in that choke area and help. And you don't need 2 scouts in the resub area, because you can just sit in the roll gate and spam and spam and spam. And you know, if someone comes in, if they actually commit on resub, you know, you can just spot them and say that, and you know, one heavy class can come back or something. But you shouldn't really die, so it's completely fine to sit there alone on your own. So yeah, this is a really good hold. Just to wait things out, you know, wait for your Uber. Yeah, stuff like that. Not really much to say here. Let's go switch to the defensive hold. There we go. So, yeah. There we go. So, spire defensive. How do you hold that? It's basically exactly the same thing like on middle. You want to have your medic as far away as possible, so you have your medic in the trash area and your soldiers on high ground. So feeling my pocket would always sit on this ledge, so you can, you know, spam if they come in. And then we have Dob, who's on top of the spire, just to have an, you know, height advantage. Spam. Yeah. You can't really, you know, have lower ground with soldier if you're so far back into the side. So yeah, that's really intuitive, I think. So the demo man always want to put up a trap, you know, like this area, this or this. Just if he has the time, always put a trap, you know, make it hard for the enemy to come into the side. Then you have the pocket scout again, really close, like on middle. He just spots, you know, he sees a medic in choke, he sees a medic here in house, and you can tell your team where they push from. It's really important for the heavy classes, so they can, you know, spam that entrance where the medic comes from. So all you do basically is sit here, be annoying, and get information. The other scout holds the resub area. Basically the same thing I told you before on the aggressive hold. He just sits there, spots the enemy, and doesn't do anything. Like, actually, it doesn't do anything. Just spots, and if no one comes resub, he might help here or something. But just, you know, you're alone on resub, you have to hold that. Just be careful. Yeah, and it's actually really hard. If the enemy gets in, you know, they clear the choke area, they get the house, it's really hard to hold that if you're this far back. So don't commit too much on this hold, just, you know, use it to get some time to get your Uber up and running. Or, you know, wait for respawners or something, but really don't commit too much. Just make it hard for the enemy and get out. Like, get out through trash, you know, take your pocket with you or connect with your flank scout. Just get out. It's really important that you don't commit too hard on this. Because if the enemy has control of the jump pad right here and gets scout on the spire, you actually can't do anything. Because they're just gonna jump on the spire, start capping, and you are in a rush to block the point, and sometimes you get flanked. They can just run through the stone bridge and cut you off through here, so just be really, really careful. Yeah. We're gonna switch back to the game because I don't really have an overview for the last. Okay, we're back in. So, yeah, there's the aggressive hold for the last point, which is in lobby area. You have your demo man right here, and he's sticking those two doors, so no one can get through the gates. That's basically his job. Then you have your two soldiers also here. They basically guard this entrance through the lobby, you know, sniper deck, just get your buff, peek like this, you know, just get information. And the other guy, maybe the pocket, sits here and does the same thing, just spotting, maybe, you know, spamming them if they come onto sniper deck. Yeah. So all the heavy classes basically are in this area, in the top lobby. The scouts, one classic way to get through this hold is basically charging scouts and they rush on the point. So that's why you always want to have one scout here, you know, just to deny that opportunity. And one scout here for the same thing. Just, I mean, everything is close corner, so you're really useless as scout in this. So basically just hold it, be annoying. If they open the gate, you know, shoot 1 or 2 times, go back. It's really hard for a scout here, so just don't die. But it's a really effective hold. The enemy always gonna come through spire on a good skill level. They climb up the spire, get onto sniper deck like this, maybe run like this and try to get top lobby from here, you know. You have a little bit of high ground, so be aware of that they're gonna climb the spire to get into last. Yeah, that's basically that. So then we have the defensive hold on last. What are you going to do here? You have your pocket here and your medic here. And the pocket basically guards this area and this area. You know, if they push in here, you might shoot one rocket to, you know, blast one away. You know, basically just body blocking. You are just holding that area. Then the medic, you should always be aware of the fact that the enemy might have a sniper or something. If they have a sniper, I really like to hold this angle, like on the stairs, you know, he can't see you. He's probably down there or something. You just sit here, and even if they come in, you can like dodge a little bit like this. You know, if they don't have a sniper, and you know that they don't have a sniper, you can just hold far back, because sometimes, you know, it's a really old school move, but can really fuck you up if it works. If the soldier just jumps from there, you know, up here, and you don't deny him, and he gets like a 100 rocket in your face, so you don't want to stand too close. Just, you know, sit like here, max range, behind your pocket, and yeah, you should be fine. On the flank side, you basically have your Roma, who is like here. He does the same thing as a pocket, just for the left side, you know. Just he can guard this, he can go a little bit further back to hold this. Yeah, that's his job. He has to be very, very careful though, because he doesn't get a buff. You know, your medic is over there, you don't get heals, and they might rush you, you know, with heals on this side, so you might want to sit back a little bit just so you can get out. So don't, you know, hold like from here or from here, just sit a little bit back. So then you have 2 scouts. One always has to hold lower left, so no scout, you know, rushes behind the point, because the last on Badlands caps really fast. You don't want to do that. So just, you know, spot here. Just try not to die there. And the other scout basically can help your pocket, your Roma over here. He can go down here, you know, spot main. If they have a sniper, just spot. You know, sometimes you can, you know, go up here, get a meat shot in or something. Really depends how the enemy holds that area. You're really flexible. Just be careful of your flank because you don't have heals on that side. That's that's actually a big point. And then you have your demo man. I actually know quite a few demo mans who have different opinions on this hold. So some, the classic way is to hold left side. You stick like maybe 4 sticks here and 4 on the point. And you don't die, you use all your ammo, go resubbing. So that's basically your play right here. But I also know demos who like to play on the right side with your pocket and medic. So he has heals and he does the same thing. He sticks the point. You always want to stick the point basically because caps so fast. Like you gotta have 600 point and some sticky traps here or something. It really depends on your playstyle. Just you have to let your team know if you are on the right or on the left side. Yeah, and that's basically how you hold last. Let me show you some tricks you can do basically if you're trying to get into last. You can you're holding lobby, you're waiting for your Uber or something, just not doing anything really. And you can go with your soldiers here. It's an old school trick, but you just go in and you double spam this area. Sometimes you have a demo man sitting, on that ledge or on soldier. You just, put 2 phase rockets into him and he can't really react. So always be aware of that. Top teams do that occasionally. And yeah, then you always have the opportunity to spy. So be aware of that. If, the enemy suicides, be careful that no spy decloaks here and gets your medic or something. Yeah. I forgot one thing. If you hold the last, you always want to have one off class, If you have much time, you build in level 3 sentry. If you don't have much time, you get in pyro. You can stand up close, and if they get in, you have Uber disadvantage, you just blast them back if you can. So pyro is like really effective, at least close range on this area. Not really if they get in, but yeah. You can also go heavy. I'm not really a big fan of heavy on Badlands last because it's so close, everything, you just get wrecked by rockets and projectiles and you can't really do anything with your minigun. So yeah, just try to go for sniper or engineer or pyro. It's much more effective. So let's see. Yeah, we talked about basically holds on every point so far. Let's talk about mid fights. So how do you approach a mid? Your demo man basically does normal rollout. You can look it up on YouTube. I'm not going to show it here. So you come here, you come through the house. It's the old school house rollout. You stick there, try to get the demo man, and then you get in. So the super old school way is that your pocket and medic come here as well. You get control of your train and you go from there. You have one roaming soldier who goes through ready, who jumps, and then you go with your team when your soldier bombs in. That's like really, really old school stuff. But I'm not really a fan of that in this meta because the demo mans, at least on prem level, maybe on high level as well, are really, really fast. So you can't really afford to go through house as a soldier because you're going to get wrecked. The demo man is fast, so you want to go slope. And what that does is you go here, both soldiers go slope, your medic of course as well. Come here, heal your Roma, and he goes like through the house area, or you can also like push the slope area, and then your pocket soldier just sits here. You can, he can go here. He can go into the hoodoo thingy here. He's just annoying. It's really hard for the enemy to push the slope like this because you have so good control over that area. Feeling always used to do that. He's like sitting here and they can't go onto slope. But yeah, you have low ground, so that could be a disadvantage. But it's definitely like meta. I think it's what you do nowadays, because the demo mans are just too fast. And yeah, you also can do a complete valley rollout. That's also very old school. You just come with your heavy classes here, both soldiers jump in, and then you go through the house with your demo man, and you just get control of this area. The scouts, one scout always goes choke. He holds the train, has to deny the Roma, for example. Just be that force on this train. And the other scout is like the valley scout, who's really important for information. The map just ended. You want to tell your team if someone pushes slope or comes, you know, through the house, shit house. Yeah, it's called shit house. I don't know why I forget that all the time. Yeah. So you basically want to do that as valley scout, and you know, if no one's watching you, you might just sneak behind through slope or through shit house yourself. And that's basically how you can run middle. So how do you push onto second? There's like 3 different pushes here. You can come through choke. You know, you take control of this area. You want to go in as far as possible, so they can't, you know, spam only this choke point. So they have, you know, spam this entire way. So, you know, we might get one soldier who jumps like this onto this spot here and just takes control of their area. Then you have like a push through connector, so you know, come in with your soldier and maybe surprise the enemy or get a pick onto the Roma right here. Or you can go riverside, resub, not riverside, resub. And how I like to do push resub is, you know, you go through the valley or through the house and then double bomb with soldiers, because sometimes the enemy flank doesn't hold too far back. They like sit here, and then you have like a double soldier bomb and they can't get in to resub. So yeah, we kill a lot of people that way. Just, you know, that's why it's always important to hold far back as a scout if you're on the opposite side. And yeah, you just try to get through resub. You have to watch that, of course, the drop down, and yeah, it's a really tough push if you don't get the initial pick on the resub, but you can do that, definitely. So that's 3 pushes. How do you push on middle? On middle, you have basically 2 ways of doing it. You go through choke, you know, your soldier jumps in onto the train, you get in. It's like a really close area, so you have to watch like pipe spam and sticky traps and stuff like that. But, you know, you have to get in as fast as possible, so one soldier should always jump in, and you need some, you know, some scouts or romas have to come from here, so you draw back the attention. It's really important. Or you come through house, so you can't like just run in with 6 people through choke area. You're gonna catch too much spam if the enemy pays attention. And then you have the house push. You know, it's a really good push if your medic is low, for example, because you can get the health back. Push like this, and you can come out like this. You know, your soldier jumps out, and you Uber him through or something, and get onto the train. Or you can even, like we tried this, where you pushed through this balcony. It's better because the enemy doesn't expect it really. Like you don't really see that too often. But the problem is that the medic, if you have to Uber, you know, you can't like run with your soldier. You know, you have to go through the slope or something, and your Uber might be really bad. So yeah, basically all you have to think of is, do you want to Uber in, or do you just want to spam the enemy back? Really depends on the Uber situation and how many people are alive and stuff like that. So there's not like one right push for everything. Yeah, and then let's talk about the last point. How you get onto last. So, you know, you have like lobby area. Or let's say the enemy holds offensive, like I told you before. You know, they hold this area and you come in. You know, you can't get through those gates because the demo man is sticking them. So you have to run up the spire. You know, you run up as the spire with like 4 or 5 people and get control of the sniper deck. And from this, you can really do some work. You know, you can go left or right side, buff your soldiers, and just spam the enemy out. So that's basically the best way to get into the lobby. Just go through spire. You know, it takes you some time. You might don't have, because, you know, you have like 10% Uber advantage and you want to like use that Uber advantage, and if you climb the spire, you're going to lose that time. So yeah, just keep that in mind. If you have the time, always go through spire and get control of the lobby area. So let's say you get control of this lobby area, the enemy just goes back to last, no one dies. How do you push on last? You can go top left. You know, you go with your scout and soldier, or scout and demo, go top left and just rush in. Force the Uber, get out again. It really depends on the Uber situation. I really like to basically just force the Uber, get out, you know, the rest of your team, like the 3 other players, just wait here, so they get fast heals. I don't know if you know that, but if you don't take damage for like 10 seconds, you get fast heals, and you can just, you know, buff that Roma soldier on 300 in like 1 second basically. So yeah, that's really good if you want to repush. Just wait here, get your buff, and go in again. You can go from main. You can double jump from here. You know, 1 jumps left side, 1 right side with Uber. You know, double left side. You want to kill the medic, for example, or just, you know, a speed jump onto the point and into the point. There's like really a lot of stuff you can do. You can look that up on YouTube as well, I think. I'm not going to cover all that soldier stuff right here, but yeah, there's basically that. And you can also push lower right. I'm really not a big fan of this, but sometimes you can surprise the enemy if you just get in here. You know, let's say you come from trash area, it's just the shortest way to get onto last. So you just run like this, get up here with your soldier, spam the point, and the scout gets onto it. Can be really efficient. But it's also like a super close entrance, so if there's sticky traps or soldier close, you know, you can get really fucked. But yeah, that's how you get into last. Just, you know, try to get onto the get onto the point, because it caps so fast. Just get onto it. It's really effective on Badlands. Not so much on other maps, but on Badlands, just if you have the chance to get cap time, get the cap time. It's often really good. Yeah. And I think the last thing we have to cover is how you get from last onto spire. So you can't really do this if you don't have any picks. You know, you need like 3 guys down or like 100% Uber advantage. You really need a big thing to get out of last, because, you know, if someone sneaks through, he just caps that, and the round is over. So let's say you have like 3 picks or something. You clear this area with your pocket. You know, you go like this, clear the sniper deck, then you clear this area. So, but the most important thing with this push is that your scouts get on the point. Like, if one of your scouts dead or dies in the middle of the push or something, you basically just run back to last. Because if you have only 1 scout, they can just focus that scout on the spire, and he's not going to cap it. So you really need your scouts. If your scouts say, we can't push, you know, I'm lit or something, I don't know, like, I'm not in positioning, I failed, then don't push at all, because it's like really the worst thing if your demo man and soldiers have to cap that point. Yeah. The scouts have to make the call, most definitely, on that push. So yeah, I think covered like most of the stuff. Basically gonna be a series of mine. I'm gonna cover all the major maps. Probably Process next, maybe Goliwash. I don't really know yet. But yeah, just let me know in the comments if you liked it. If I can improve anything or something. Yeah, just let me know. Alright guys, see you in a bit.